Hi, my name is Karen E. Wells and welcome to Module 1 on this fully accredited professional yoga teacher training course. Now, before we start to move into Module 1, first of all, before you actually reach this point, you would have received the Introduction to the Yoga course video. You would have also had an opportunity to download the training manual. Now, at the time of creating this course, there is an issue if you're using the Udemy app, which means that basically it's not possible right at this point to download or print off a training manual within that facility. So right now, I would just recommend to you that you go onto a desktop computer so that you can actually download the training manual to your computer and work through it or print it off that way. Alternatively, if you are just using a tablet or your phone to access the course, just drop us an email and we'll send the training manual through to you. Okay, so let's move on to Module 1, which is all about what is yoga. So yoga is an Eastern philosophy, or used to be, I guess. It started back in India over 5,000 years ago, and obviously over time it has come into the Western world. It's seen as a spiritual philosophy. It's really connecting the mind and body. So within this module, we're going to be working and looking through several different types of yoga, although this course is primarily based on Hatha Yoga. This video is going to turn into some slides now, so stay with me, enjoy and work through this video module as you work through the training manual with it. I'll see you at the end of this video. Okay, so if we look at what is yoga, the origins of yoga are firmly steeped in history, of course, and most people know it's a gentle age-old practice that works on the body, mind and spirit in a complete holistic manner. It was formed in India over 5,000 years ago, although in those times, of course, yoga was very different to the practice of today. So there's a classical period that's defined by the Yoga Sutras, which is the first presentation of yoga, written in the 2nd century, describe a Rana yoga, which is often denoted as classical yoga. So although the teachings of yoga are spiritual, in the Western world, those interested in studying yoga will choose whether they wish to focus more on a physical application of yoga or to include the spiritual elements. And of course, that's entirely up to you at all. So this course primarily focuses on the postures, the benefits, the principles of each pose, as well as the correct alignment, which aids your students' progress and enables you to teach in a proficient manner. As we mentioned before, this course is primarily a Hatha Yoga course because it has a strong connection with a physical element of yoga. But there's lots of different styles which we're now going to have a look at as well. But Hatha Yoga utilizes every aspect of the self, which is mentally, physically, emotionally. It means union, and it's derived from the sun and the moon, meaning balance, and it signifies both consciousness and life force. Once your students start to do it, they'll start to recognize the potential that it's going to give them, toning muscles, strengthening joints, easing the nerves. So let's look at some of the yoga styles. So if we look at Iyengar Yoga, this was created by Iyengar, who was born in 1918 and brought this style of yoga into great popularity. In his early years, he was often less physically able than many of his students, and as a result began to experiment with modifications and to use props. So he can be perhaps thanked for that, for those easier ones that we need to look at. We then look at Bikram Yoga, which has become sort of quite trendy in recent years. It's got dedicated followers and it comes from Bikram Chahudi, and it's also known as hot yoga. He developed 26 poses and 2 breathing exercises whilst he was researching this, and it's all done in 105-degree heat. So it is that yoga, that hot yoga. You've then got integral yoga, which brings together many different aspects of yoga in one style. So we're going to talk about that as well. It's looking at meditation, devotion, deep study, and mantras are all part of integral yoga as well. You've got Ananda Yoga, which is based on the teachings of Yogananda, who was the founder of the Self-Realization Fellowship. It differs from other Hatha Yoga styles as it has more energizing exercises and affirmations, and that includes 39 energy techniques. You've then got Ashtanga Yoga. This means 8 limbs, but it's also the name of the yogi taught by, and it's practiced on a worldwide scale. So it's known mainly as Ashtanga, but the full name is Ashtanga Yoga. You've then got Kundalini Yoga, which is a distant variation of traditional Hatha Yoga because there's less focus on the physical postures but a greater attention on meditation, chanting and the breath. This is often associated as well with the base chakra. So there's also Sivananda Yoga as well, which has been created by one of the Swamis that died in 1963. And this again had a tremendous influence on Hatha Yoga as well. So there's different styles of Hatha Yoga, but that's going to give you some indication. As well as the English names, we're also including some of the Sanskrit names as well, which is the language of India's greatest and ancient text. So let's move now to the end of this module. So that brings together the end of Module 1 on this yoga teacher training course. You'll notice at the end of each module, there's some self-assessment tasks for you to do. Now they're not to submit to us, they're just purely for you to just check your own level of learning and to make sure that you're up to speed with the course material. So take some time at the end of each module to just go through the self-assessment tasks, make sure your learning's up to speed and you're happy with that, and I'm going to look forward to seeing you on Module 2.